Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Sunday, January 13th, 2019. Man, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. With my guest, of course, tonight, our great friend from Denmark, Mr. Henrik. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing so fine, but not if you call me sir, sir.
I won't call you sir again. Turn my mic up a little bit. It was down a little bit. Sorry about that, folks. All right, so let's get started here because there's a lot to go over. You know, when I was sitting down, getting things ready for the show tonight, I'm just kind of flipping through articles. There's a couple different things that I wanted to get into tonight, but we really have a lot to talk about when it comes to what's happening right now in Austria and other parts of Europe. But let's get into the space weather part of this. Our solar wind speeds are sitting at a 318.6 kilometers per second, with a density of 28.7. That's a very thick solar stream there. Ooh, I got to show you guys this. Look at this, ice pillars. We see these almost every winter now, the last 3 years anyway. I wanted to take a look at this. Oh my goodness, Lebanon, New Hampshire. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, Mari, you are the optics queen when it comes to lens flares. So I have to ask you, are these light pillars, or are these just effects from the camera? I mean, are these legit?
Well, honestly, it looks like light from the camera. Looks
from
like
the
lens
lights
flare to me. From it doesn't. And yeah, that's questionable. Yeah, I have studied atmospheric optics for a few years now, and that doesn't look like authentic. Light pillars.
Every light pillar here looks like they have its own source of a light from a light tower. So we'll see. I don't know.
Sort of disappointed in SPACEWEATHER, actually.
But is
SPACEWEATHER.com. I will look into it and research it.
Yeah, we'll take it.
I will see, but that is... Yeah.
if the lights...
Especially the location of it. New Hampshire... On the East Coast, where it's not New Hampshire's just a drive for us.
Okay, so they're accepting that man-made light intercepts with these ice pillars. So basically, what it's saying is that it's so cold that the light is being reflected off of the ice crystals in the atmosphere. I still think that might be just a glare from the camera, though. We'll take a look at that, guys. You know how we are. We always have to question everything, right? All right, but taking a look at the rest of our solar conditions, the sun is blank once again, 6 straight days. We started the year 6 straight days without sunspots, or with sunspots, and now we haven't seen one or any indication. The TCI is also lowered to 31.8 billion watts. It was at 33.8 billion watts. KP is quiet at 1, and the 24-hour max is a 2. Now, anyone who is new to the channel, you're probably wondering, what is TCI? We've heard of TSI. What's TCI? This is how they're measuring the thermospheric climate up in the very top atmosphere of our planet. And not only is it getting colder up there, but it's also shrinking the atmosphere at the very top of our planet. So, as you guys can see here, the minimum was 20.5 billion watts. That was the record cold back in 2009. Exactly 10 years ago to this day. So before we went on the air, Henrik and I were talking about 2020 being the peak year for this minimum. And man, we've seen some extreme things already happening. So imagine next year possibly looking at a moderate to strong La Nina, lower sunspot activity, lower solar activity, possibly even colder TCI. I mean, you guys think it's bad right now. Wait till next year. I know we said that last year, and then now we're here, and winter kind of stalled out on us and didn't start until really this week, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. Looking at the SDO, there is a coronal hole. They believe we'll see some solar wind speeds increase from this that will hit Earth's magnetic field by the 15th or 16th of January. Taking a look at the SDO in motion. And right now, we don't have anything a major indication at this point. But we are watching the eastern limb, as I will show you guys just here in a second. We might have some activity coming around the corner here, but really quiet right now as far as expecting any kind of sunspots. Look at our solar plot. Look at it. Solar ray, X-ray flux, and proton flux. Very low levels here, guys. Not even a peep. But this is what I wanted to show you right here. On the other side, directly on the other side of the sun, we're looking at some active regions that are still about 15, 20 days away from making it Earth-facing. But it is worth noting that there is a possibility that we could see a sunspot region from that area right there. And I'll move the arrow over here and we can take a look at it again. There's a coronal hole we're waiting for. And then we have 2 sunspot regions that could be sunspots by the time it makes it around to Earth. Excuse me. Our TSI came in at 1360.716 on January 4th. So we've seen that fluctuation back and forth of that 0.6 value to 0.7. Again, very, very, very minor stuff there, guys. Nothing to really be concerned about. Asteroid 2019 AE9 flew past Earth at 0.26 lunar distance. I'm only bringing this up. Henrik, you heard about the other one earlier, 4 days ago, that flew just 0.04 lunar distance between us and the planet.
Yeah, I was very surprised, I must say, and then again, not really.
Right.
Because, they are flying around us, And
it shouldn't surprise us, you're right. But the one thing that kind of worried me a little bit is they didn't discover it until 9 hours after it flew by Earth, to only find out it was 9,259 miles away when it passed. Well, here we go again. 2019 AE9 was first observed January 11th. This one, we at least saw it coming. It was 23 hours before its close approach. This asteroid belongs to the Apollo group of asteroids. So I'd like to do a little more research and find out why the Apollo group is affecting us so closely here, and is this part of its cycle? But the estimated distance between, or the diameter, is 9.9 and 22 meters, which is a lot bigger than the one that flew past us just recently, which was nowhere near that size. We were talking, I think, 6 feet wide at that. But this one here, 32.5 to 72 feet wide on this asteroid. And here's a little bit more in that one. Still, I mean, you're talking 0.24 lunar distance, 0.20 more, a little further away than Earth itself on the last one. But kind of freaky, 4 days that we've seen 2 asteroids pass our planet within a half lunar distance. And when you look at 2018 as well, how many we had in 2018, very early 2019, we've had 2 so far that's been under a half lunar distance. This is getting a lot of attention. I've seen several articles on various social media websites. I have seen Ben from Suspicious Observers that did a piece on this as well. Watchers included their article on the 12th. And, I will admit, I'm not an expert on the pole reversal here, the magnetic poles and all that stuff. But I do find it concerning a little bit that how far overdue we are for an actual magnetic pole flip. In fact, we've only had 183 of these pole flips in the last 83 million years. And they're saying the last one occurred somewhere around 780,000 years ago. So, watching this very closely, this is the northern pole, magnetic pole right now is racing towards Siberia. I'll leave the link in the description. You guys can read this, make up your own conclusion, but I know there's people out there, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but there are people out there that have connected mass extinctions to these magnetic flips. Now, does that mean the entire planet? No. I heard the other night that it's a fine region that's in that area where the northern pole, the magnetic pole is. So it's not like the entire planet is going to get scorched. But what does concern me while reading this article is where they mention that parts of the planet would be exposed to very dangerous effects from our sun. And considering that our magnetic field or our magnetosphere is already weak and allowing a lot more cosmic radiation into the atmosphere. My question is this pole shift that's happening on a very slow pace right now, actually it's happening at 31 miles per year is what I think I saw. Is this pole shift affecting what we're seeing right now with the snow in Europe because of the possibilities of bringing more cosmic radiation into our atmosphere, creating more particulates for these snowflakes to attach to? I guess I want to ask you too, Henrik, do you have any knowledge or information about what you know about this magnetic pole reversal, or is it just like me, you're just finding out through the internet with everybody else?
It's just like you, and my question would be, do the article, or do you know, or do they know when the last time was that it was occurring?
They said 780,000 years ago was the last reversal that we've had. And apparently
then it's going to be a little bit difficult, I think, to find out exactly what was happening,
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's so far back, and I think I've heard people say these are supposed to happen every 100,000 years, which is ironic because we are running on these 100,000. There's too many things that are correlating with 100,000 year marks, such as ice ages and when exactly we see the maximum amount of CO2 parts per million in our atmosphere. So it's crazy when you really start looking at everything from, the magnetic pole to everything else that correlates with the 100,000 mark, the ice ages, the CO2 marks, the Milankovitch cycle. I mean, right there is 4 things that I just named off. 100,000 years.
And you know what? That makes it so much bloody harder to make prepping, because what will you prep and how should you prep? And I think the first thing people have to do if we're talking prepping is to find out exactly what was happening in the place you are living in right now, 400 years and further back, because that's going to tell you just a little bit about what was happening. But the problem today is that the world is looking so much different than it did 400 years back. And all the cities, are so big. So what the bloody are they going to do with all the snow?
I talked about that a couple of nights ago. When you have feet after feet after feet of snow falling and you're clearing the roofs off and stuff like that, where do you put it after so many weeks? And this is the kind of stuff that's been talked about back in 2016 when I was first getting introduced to this stuff, is that each year that goes by, we're going to start running into that problem. Where are you going to put all the snow at? But I think I think you're right, Henrik. It's good to have information about what the whole globe went through, but I think time is here for where we as people should start doing more local research on what happened here during these events and what happened to the climate. That's the only way you can get really prepared for where you live. Unfortunately, every location is different, so you can't prep for the same things, in my opinion anyway. And I think that's what you're saying too, is that it's important now that we shift gears. Now we see it for our own eyes, and there's nothing wrong with talking about what to do in other places of the world. But if you really want to get serious about prepping for yourself, Henrik hit the nail on the head. You have to go back and look to 400 years back and find out what kind of climate, what happened. And like you said, things were way different 400 years ago. We've already talked about the kind of damage that could be done to the grid, compared to what would happen if we had a Harrington event like we did back in the 1850s, something like that happening now. I think I read in this article, they kind of assume a money amount for how much it would cost if there was grid problems from this magnetic reversal. And they're saying it could be in the trillions of dollars.
But money is one thing and people's life is another one. And if that will happen, and it will happen simultaneously with a winter like this, then so many people in so many cities would almost be doomed because you have no way to heat up. You cannot go to the toilet. You are so much screwed.
People think this is fear porn when we have discussions like this, but this is reality, and it's something. Yeah, it's not pleasant to think about. It sounds like we're talking about things out of the Dark Ages, and we're not going to go without power and running water. I live here in Dime Box, Iowa. That's not going to happen. But when you look at how many events are lining up right now with this 100,000 year mark, the Milankovitch cycle, the magnetic pole shift, the ice ages that happen every 100,000 years, almost on the nose, and then you have periods of where CO2 also, it seems like every 100,000 years, peaks out and then starts to decline after that. So to me, there's so much going on that points to really bad things. Yeah, climate change is real. It's happening. The fortunate part, or there really is there's no silver lining to this. It's not man-made, I can tell you that. But Mother Nature is a beast, and she's flexing her muscles right now, that's for sure. Taking a look over another earthquake swarm near Santorini, Volcano in Greece. Seismic swarm just started southwest of Greek Santorini Volcano, January 13th, 2019. While there is currently no indication that earthquakes are volcanic in origin, the situation merits close monitoring. The last eruption took place around 1950 as a VEI-2. A major catastrophic eruption of VEI-7 of this volcano took place in 1610 BCE. Now listen, that's 400 years ago. That's 409 years ago. So I'd say we're about due if they go in patterns, but ironically, 409, 412 years ago, we were in a grand solar minimum. Wait a minute. Let me back up here. It took place in 1610 BCE. I better pump the brakes and look up what BCE is. Do you know what BCE is?
Yes, it's before Christ.
Okay, so BC. Okay, so this is way before the 1600s of the Little Ice Age. I'm going to have to go back and look at the information from back then and see where we were as far as minimum or what kind of cycle we were going through. So I apologize. I misread that. Sometimes I get a little excited and don't read it in full.
Well, there's two different variations. There's BC and then BCE. So one's before Common Era and the other one is before Christ. And they basically mean the same thing, the years previous to CE, which is the Common Era.
So we're talking, if we had to go temperatures, this would be negative 1610. So, come on. I got to lay it out in layman's terms, you know. Oh, boy.
What was that?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. You're always blaming me for weird sounds.
No, yeah, right. You're never the culprit. Ever.
No.
But getting back to this article real quick, nothing major is happening. Just wanted to bring it up tonight. Another volcano activity that is significant possibly to our climate. More activity, more awakening here. Oh, look at this. Although quakes are near the Kemeny Line, a tectonic alignment in the southwest-northeast direction, which has been preferred location for magma ascent in the volcano's past few 100,000 years of history. So another mention of 100,000 years. There is currently no indication that earthquakes are volcanic origin, he says. I just find it interesting. Everybody keeps mentioning 100,000 years here. So it shows us the last eruptive phase, 1950, January 10th. And I'll leave a link in the description, just a little bit of history about this volcano. Again, nothing's happening right now, but just another area that's awakening with earthquakes and possible eruptions. Partial dome collapse after explosion at Nevados de Chilean volcano in Chile. Strong explosion was recorded on January 11, 2019. The alert remains at an orange. Explosion took place at 800 UTC on January 11th. It was recorded by a webcam. The event was associated with the occurrence of long period type earthquake related to the dynamics of fluids inside the volcanic system. In addition, Incandescence associated with the emissions of gases and ejection of high-temperature pyroclastic material was also observed. 8:30 UTC, January 11th. Here's some pictures of it. There were no anomalous signs at the time of the report.
Jake?
Yeah.
Is there some reason why I not can see the screen today? I can only see a grand solar minimum.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. I feel bad for you now. We have, could I share the screen on the Hangout call? I forgot. We set it up in OBS, and usually when we have you on, we do that, we do the Hangouts. But I forgot at the last minute, and we already had this set up. So we're kind of patching everything together where we get the audio.
I don't think I can.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I apologize.
No. As long as I can hear, that's fine.
I tell you, when you get a chance tomorrow, take a look at some of the pictures. I'm sure you're already up to it. Guys, we're getting ready to talk about European situation here just in a quick second here. Before we go to that, I will finish what I was going to say about Henrik. Tornado hits West Java, damaging more than 300 homes in Indonesia. A strong tornado swept through residential area of Rangkaki district in Bandung Regency of Indonesia's West Java, 1550 local time on Friday, January 11th. I'm bringing this up, like I said before at the beginning of the podcast, that we have seen volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, and now 2 tornadoes in this region. This looks like as it's happening, but these people need to get safe. My God. Holy cow. It's coming right at him. The only thing I can say is that, and I'll have to do some more research on this, but these folks are not used to tornadoes, because the last thing you do during a tornado is pray to God and sing in His praise while there's one coming straight at you. That takes some pretty big kahongas there to stand right in the path. That tornado was just forming. Here's more footage. This looks like it's a little bit safer here. We see standing water in their crop fields. Wow. I'll leave the link in the description. Henrik, I wish you could have seen that video I just showed. This guy was literally standing out at his home filming the twister beginning to tear up his neighborhood. And singing. Yeah. That's what all that yelling was. Him singing. Maybe it was a religious, I don't know. But to me, if I'm standing in front of a tornado, I'm definitely singing a religious song. There's tons of footage here, guys, on this Watchers article. I'll leave the link in the description. Speaking of videos, Henrik has been keeping a pulse on the situation. If you guys go to his channel, he's got 7 article or videos talking about this the snow event that's happening right now in Europe. Henrik, go ahead and give us a brief overview of some of these videos on what they're talking about, if you don't mind.
Well, some of the videos are showing how an avalanche is coming through a hotel, and there's, I think most people have seen the helicopter. I actually think it's a Danish guy they are rescuing on the mountain, where I'm so impressed of that movement by that helicopter pilot, you know.
Beyond impressed.
It's so crazy.
Yeah,
it's really, really dangerous, you know. One wind and, you know, well, don't mention that because it went well. And then, well, I will just say to people, watch the videos because it's crazy, you know. The Europe winter, already 26 people are dead. Greece the other day had down to minus 23 Celsius or minus 9.4 Fahrenheit, and 3 German skiers and 2 ski patrols has been found killed over this weekend in the Alps, and more snow is of course coming. And then there has been snow in Kashmir, in Lebanon, in Germany, in Austria, in Greece, Czech Republic, Turkey, and Japan. And I'm pretty sure I have forgot a lot of places.
There's too many to name off. I'll show you the Northern Hemisphere snow cover if I didn't delete it already. I've had a heck of a night, folks. Here we go. And Henrik, again, the map is indicating all of Russia, most of Europe, all of Canada, Alaska, Greenland, Iceland, parts of Eurasia. There's lots of snow cover right now in the Northern Hemisphere. And that's going to change, too, next week for the U.S. I've already spoke to Starman about that. But everybody, make sure you check out the videos. And, yeah, you're right about that helicopter rescue. That's beyond. To me, when you do a rescue like that, you understand that there's an extreme danger in performing that rescue. That means there was even more a bigger danger for those people that were trapped versus what that helicopter was facing. So that's some serious, again, that pilot deserves an award for the maneuvering, like you said, Henrik. But I'll leave, go ahead.
And another guy who don't deserve a medal is a guy, I'm from Denmark, so sometimes you must excuse me for my pronouncing of names. You have a guy over there. Is he called Al Gore or Al Gore?
I like Al Gore better.
Okay, so I will just say, because I have a feeling that this guy have a snow problem right now.
Big time.
And I don't know what he's doing, but I just want to say to you, Mr. Al Gore, I would not piss down your throat if your lung was on fire.
Wow. Ouch. Well, listen. This is kind of like, this isn't just about bashing somebody here. This is pure anger. In fact, just because of what we're watching, like Henrik's over there in that region, so he's not too far from where this horrific snow, and I say horrific because 16 feet of snow in 2 weeks is not normal. So, I believe, Henrik, you're expressing anger because this guy, Al Gore, told everybody that our children, my children, and my children's children will not see snow in the North America at all in their livelihood. Yeah. It's going to be gone. That the ice will be disappeared, and
But it's not only Al Gore I'm angry at. It's all the Danish press, all the journalists, because they are talking things down. There is a little bit article about what's going on in Europe, a little bit. But they talk more about some guys who are trying to invent some tea bags that can absorb more CO2. It's like they don't want to show you what's going on in the rest of the Europe because there's no snow in Denmark, so we are keeping it quiet.
Well, and that's easy to do when you look out your window and you've got one set of conditions and the rest of the world's got, it's easier to have a blind eye to something when it's not happening in your own backyard. And that's probably what's happening in Denmark, unfortunately. But, bringing up points about Al Gore, here we go. The North has plenty of ice. And I thought this was staggering, too. I'm going to move this 2012 dot out of the way. Guys, what we're looking at is, I usually do this at the end of the show you guys the Arctic sea ice extent. But check this out. It is still growing right now. In my opinion, this is record growth. Last year, we didn't see this. Well, let's do a comparison real quick. 2017 to 2018. Put it up there. And you guys see it's up and down. It's a very weak, anemic growth, in my opinion, from 18 to 17. In fact, 18 was worse than 17, but look how far we've already seen extent grow this year in early 2019. And I believe that'll continue to go up and surpass the last several years that we've seen. As cold as we're getting right now, the temperatures that you were just telling me, the negative 9.5 degrees Fahrenheit, and what is that, northern Greece, eastern Greece? So this is serious weather, guys. And I'm bringing these stories to you tonight. Again, this is not fear porn. This is something that everybody on the national news should be talking about right now. And I don't know, maybe they are. I don't really watch mainstream media anymore. But in my opinion, this should be the top story on every evening news channel tonight. When you watch your CBS World News or NBC World News or ABC, this should be all we talk about, because this, and I'm surprised, like Hendricks claimed already once, 26 people have been killed in weather-related incidents across Europe over the past 10 days. I'm surprised that...
And that would be...
Go ahead.
There will be more. That is for sure.
That's what I was going to say. There's going to be more, especially when you look at what we have coming here in the next couple of days. Like you mentioned earlier, 3 skiers, 2 ski patrollers have been killed in the Alps over the weekend, bringing the number of people killed to 26. Most of these deaths occurred due to snow avalanches after heavy snow hit parts of Europe. Bodies of 3 German skiers were recovered near a ski resort near Lich and Arlberg, authorities said, adding a 4th person who was with them is still missing. So unfortunately, it sounds like we might have a 4th victim from that. But look at this. Here's an idea where this line is.
Can I say something quickly?
Go for it.
If people want to see it on YouTube, there is some videos with people in Austria in some mountain cities, or what you're calling it, who are making controlled demolition with the dynamite, so they can make controlled avalanche. But I cannot upload them to my channel because there's copyrights. But it's very cool to see.
Yeah, that's a good. That would be a good Google. You have, with this kind of snowfall, you have to have controlled avalanches, wouldn't you? Just to help.
Yeah, I believe so. It's very clever done.
Yeah, I mean, people are thinking like, why would you want to create an avalanche? Because if you control them at certain levels, you're not going to have them as bad. Say if a natural one had happened, that could be way more dangerous than the controlled ones. Guys, I'm showing you just a few pictures here of what's happened. This is just, to me, the amount of snow that they're removing off of this roof is, look at the guy in the red is standing on the roof, and he's got snow about 3 feet higher than him. So we're talking about, this is about 9 feet of snow, and that was on January 12th. And this picture right here is absolutely stunning and beautiful. It looks like something you would see in a Day After Tomorrow type movie. But I wanted to bring up the bottom part of this article because this is where this is severe. This is beyond severe. With some strong ridge over the Atlantic, a very deep trough will move across the East Central Europe from January 14th to 16th and will bring another round of very cold air mass, new snowfall in many areas, and very intense snowstorms into the Alps, with already extreme amount of snow locally between 9.8 feet and 16.4 feet based on the latest reports. An additional 3.3 to 3.9 feet or even more of fresh snow is expected through Tuesday morning. So from tonight until Tuesday morning, life-threatening situation with major snow avalanche threat will worsen once the snowfall intensifies over the weekend. And for those of you who live across the pond, I'm going to go ahead, and we don't always show you guys radars. I'm going to try to do that a little bit more. But as you can see, you've got low pressure system after low pressure system bringing more moisture to the region, more snow. Very, very big systems moving into Europe. And this does not appear to be letting up anytime soon. Here is another map that we use as well to look at totals here in the U.S. I'll zoom this in. You can see some of these areas that are shades that I don't even think really exist on this chart right now. But across the Alps, you can see all that heavy snowfall. But look at how much snow we get in just 10 days. And Henrik,
yes.
Go ahead, bud.
I was just going to ask you if you know if there is a totally snow cover map for the world, because I know that NASA.gov have some, but it's ending in December 2018.
I do have a snow cover map up right now, and it's impressive. There's not a lot of white as far as the northern hemisphere is concerned. Everything is shaded in snow cover. The white is snow free. So if people are looking at this map right now, they're going to see all of Russia covered. They're going to see all the parts of Europe that's covered right now. The UK has snow coverage. Parts of France and Greece and Spain and Portugal, of course. You guys don't see that kind of weather, but everything else up there, I'm sorry, not the UK, I apologize. I need to really get a lot better with my geography here. I was talking about Finland and Sweden and those Norway, those regions are snow covered. The UK, you are fine. I know Dave's probably sitting like, what in the hell is this guy talking about? We have no snow right now. So anyway.
Yeah, and I know my friend Matt in England and we are making a little competition about who's going to get the first snow, and I hope I will win.
Your chances might be a little bit better just by looking at that map that I was showing here a minute ago.
They have promised in the part of the land where I'm living, I may be lucky to have snow either tonight or in the next 2 or 3 days, but it would not be much and it will disappear again. But the most of the nights we have frost.
Yeah, it looks like you might get a shot of some snow in the coming days, but nothing like what we're seeing in Austria or anything like that. I will note that Starman showed me that there is a red warning alert for Tyrol, Austria, for the next several days, and that's where we just talked about here in the article, where we will see another 100 centimeters of snow falling in just a short period of time, in just a couple of days. And that's around almost 4 feet of snow, guys. For those of you who don't know the centimeters, I had to look that up myself. Nearly 4 feet of snow is going to fall in the next 2.5 days for that region, on top of the 9 to 16 feet of snow that's already fallen throughout the region right now. I'm going to do a little background on how much snow we see in this region on an average. I'm pretty sure that we are crushing all the numbers for snowfall in that region for this winter so far. Wouldn't you say you live over that region? When's the last time you've heard about snowfall this intense in that area?
I cannot remember that.
Yeah. So I mean, this could be labeled.
I know people are on some of the videos I have uploaded to my channel talking about. It's 20 years ago. It's been that much snow, but 20 years ago, I was 20 years younger and I had only women in my head.
Still, I think this would stick out in your head reading the local newspaper one day, reading that they had 16 feet of snow in 10 days. So it's safe to say that this is definitely an unprecedented an event that's happening right now. And, a lot of people in this community have, we've said this is coming. And what's frightening to me, and I think Europe gets it worse than we do here in the States. Last year, we had some pretty impressive snowstorms in the United States, but I know the beast from the East. There were some very impressive storms overseas last year. But again...
Yeah, but Jake, sorry I interrupt you again, but you also have to think of another thing, that is that you're used to the snow in your parts of the country where you get a lot of snow. We are used to snow in Europe, but not that much snow. And when we got 2 centimeters of snow in Denmark, the trains are stopping. That's it. And a lot of buildings in the whole Europe are not built for heavy snow.
I'm showing pictures. These are pictures out of Germany, Bavaria, Germany. The roads, the drifts, where they plowed through, Henrik, are about 5 feet tall. There's probably a fresh 3 feet, 6 feet, 3 to 4 feet on the roofs of these houses. Cars are buried. Of course, Mari's seen snow like this before too in Buffalo. But like you said, these people aren't used to that. This is a little bit beyond, Buffalo here. This is a little bit more ridiculous, and when you're talking about the frequency and how fast, and you can only imagine the sure, this is perfect for ski season right now, but the dangerous thing, how long are these resorts going to be open with this kind of snow? I mean, they're going to have to think about safety first. Another image I'm showing. Go ahead.
Well, some of the ski places have been closed because there's too much snow.
Too dangerous.
Yeah, and too much snow, so they could not use the one you were sitting in, what do you call it, the ski transporting, system.
Jeez. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just showed a picture, and in this picture here, this is Tatras, Poland. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. But yeah, you can clearly see these ski lifts here are
ski lifts, yes.
Ice frozen, snow covered. And these skiers are like, yep, let's do it. I'm showing another picture that looks like something that we've seen every year from Japan. There's a certain spot where they've got 20-foot snowbank walls from all the snow they get, and when they plow it, it literally looks like you're driving down snow tunnels. There's another picture out of southern Poland where the snow wall here is at least 10 feet high, and the majority of it is just mind-blowing on how much snow we've actually seen just in the last 10 days. And everybody, and this is where people, you got to be careful what you wish for. I've had folks almost harassing me on my website about when are we going to get snow? Where's that cold air at? Where's all that snow at? Where's it at? And it's like, they were almost like ribbing you from the internet, and now we're talking about European storms that won't let up, and I still say they're getting the worst of this with the cold and the snow. But even here in the United States, we just dealt with Winter Storm Gia, and powerful, not as powerful what we're seeing in Europe, but we are seeing some pretty tricky situations for areas again over here that aren't used to the snow. For example, St. Louis saw quite a bit of snow out there, 6 to 12 inches. In most parts of the Midwest, Kansas City, St. Louis, Indianapolis, even parts of Ohio received almost near a foot. 9 people have been killed, according to the watchers on their article here. And just a very heavy swath of snow that fell from Kansas all the way through Ohio, now is heading out to the Atlantic as we speak. Kansas City, 7 inches of snow, parts of Kansas City. Didn't stop Chiefs fans. Some of them were at the game. I watched a little bit of that. A lot of these new stadiums are built with, or even the old ones, they've installed these heating coil systems that keep the field above freezing so snow cannot accumulate, which is interesting. I enjoy watching the snow games. Buffalo had one last year where they had almost 2 feet on the field by the time the end of the game. Great, amazing night game, snow everywhere. The crowd was electric, and the Buffalo Bills came back and won. I mean, those are just majestic scenes. But anyway, back to the real news here. Thousands across the Kansas City area without power after a Saturday storm. It dumped around 48 inches in the metro area. Accumulations vary from 4.6 inches of snow all the way to 7.5 in Independence, 5 inches in Oath, 6.9 in Overland Park. You get the point. We had about 6 to 10 inches here. Moving a little bit further towards the east. Let's go back one. I deleted it. This is so touchy, Mari. So I was going to show you what was going on in St. Louis, but that one got deleted accidentally. They also had 5 to 8 inches of snowfall in that region. I move you a little bit further to the east. Actually, it deleted the Ohio one too.
Well, if you put it on logo, I could retrieve them rather quickly for you.
Please do.
I love to
and
be
the logo's
helpful,
gone.
Jake. I'm sorry. We're live, so you got to give it to Jake for covering all this data on the fly live. Do you remember where?
It's channel 4. I think it was this one right here.
This one?
No, 4. Central Ohio. That's it. There we go.
That's the one? Did you need another one put up?
No, this one's fine. I'll go backwards. Let's check out Ohio real quick. Odiddy, Ohio. All right. Round on the ends, high in the middle. 4.0 inches in Columbus, 5.6 in Hilliard, which is a suburb of Columbus. Dublin, a little bit nicer area, 4.8 inches. Upper Arlington, 4.7. In Westerville, you got 4.5. This map right here gives us a pretty good idea of what Ohio saw. And parts of Richmond, Indiana, you were in that 6 to 9 area as well. But look at this. Dayton, Ohio, 6 to 9 inches. My hometown, Xenia, Ohio, received 10 inches of snow. Huber Heights, Ohio, received around 9 inches of snow. Beaver Creek received 7 inches of snow. And as you head towards Cincinnati, even 4 to 5 inches, that will cause a problem for folks in that part of the region as well, because Cincinnati and northern Kentucky usually don't see a lot of snow. They see a lot more freezing rain and ice than anything. So a decent little snow. There you go, brother. I know my brother has been asking when we're going to get some snow. There's your first snow, and there's more on the way, and we'll get to that here just in a little bit as well. Moving right along, though, as we keep talking about what we saw across the country. Here we are in VA, Maryland, where this is what we have falling through the day today into the evening. 4 to 6 near Baltimore, 6 to 8 in D.C., and 8 to 10 inches, guys, in Fredericksburg, Warrenton, Petersburg. So the Virginia, D.C., Baltimore, you guys are still getting snow. It is making its way out as we speak. Let's take a look at the national radar. Yeah, we'll refresh. Let's do that. Again, we are live. So bear with me, folks. All right, so we're working back to the United States. I'm trying to get a good look at the United States current radar right now. So that way we can show folks where we're looking at. Here we go. So D.C. is getting blasted right now of heavy snowfall. And you guys, actually, they were talking about this being done by this afternoon. I'd have to say we have at least 3 or 4 hours of heavy snow still in the D.C. area. Pittsburgh, some light snow showers. Cumberland, Charleston, West Virginia. Rain changing to snow over there in Beckley. Virginia, you guys are dealing with freezing rain, freezing precipitation in Richmond. And it's just plain rain out there in Norfolk. So that's where the action is right now, folks. A little bit of snow near Evansville, Carbondale, rain showers throughout northeast Tennessee, central Tennessee, and believe it or not, some light snow showers still lingering around in St. Louis. Some snowfall happening right now as we speak in Santa Fe, New Mexico, quite a bit too. That will run just for the next couple of hours as we move to the west. California, brace yourselves. You have rain on the way. And believe it or not, we're quiet in the northwest for a change. We need the break. What was the last one here? Oh, yeah, New Jersey. Up to 6 inches of snow possible in South Jersey. So this storm, I'd say you got at least 6 to 10 inches of snow for the most part out of Winter Storm Gia. Not bad, considering this, in my book, as the first real winter storm that kind of, it was a little bit more widespread. There was a wider area of snowfall compared to the last few that we've had, and a lot more of it that fell as well. Leave the links in the description, guys. And before I get into the weather part of this, did you want to add anything about what we've discussed tonight, Henrik, about the winter snow in Europe or the snowfall we're getting here in the U.S.?
Yeah, well, actually, Denmark had a very bad start of the new year. And by the way, Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Yes, we haven't spoke.
We have. So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Our first 2019 show.
Yeah, but we had a storm in Denmark, and we actually are having one right now. Not a big one, but we had one bigger in the start of the year. And January the 2nd, we had a train accident where 8 people dead.
Oh no!
A passenger train on a bridge with a heavy wind was passing another big beer train, and one of the big wagons on the train was falling into the passenger train. So they could not even identify some of the people with teeth. They had to do a lot of stuff to identify people. It was pretty ugly.
I'm showing a little bit of the videos here that you're showing on your website, on your YouTube channel as well. Just all kinds of things. Cantaloupe in the wild here getting trapped in snow. Cars, several feet of snow on cars, trying to dig those out. And, that's overnight snow, guys. That's not these people just being lazy and not cleaning off their cars the next morning. That's the fresh snow that they're cleaning up the next day. So, good stuff here, Henrik. I'll go ahead and check these out, too, when I get a chance to look at all the footage.
And if anybody likes a train, there is a video with a powerful train plow through the snow. It looks so cool.
We'll definitely check that out. So we're looking at the GFS. And the storm that we're talking about is exiting the United States right now as we speak. Actually, GFS has this kind of sticking around a little bit tomorrow as well. So there's a chance we see some light snow showers tomorrow in the same regions of Maryland, Baltimore. D.C., Norfolk, still rain, but snow showers in these areas that we're getting right now that we just talked about on the East Coast. Meanwhile, California, you have some rain approaching you. Southern California, some heavy rainfall. More snow for the Sierra Nevadas. And then we have snowfall in Nevada and Utah, Arizona. Things just kind of normal for now. The Northwest, unfortunately, you'll start to see moisture move back into your part of the woods on the 18th of January. And a huge low-pressure system drills Northern California, as well as Washington and Oregon and parts of Idaho and Montana with snow and rain, and it just keeps pouring in, unfortunately, for the folks out there in the Northwest, California. Guys, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Enough is enough. The ground is beyond saturated in that part of the country. So as we get moving in toward, this is next week, by the way. This is what we're looking at for next weekend. So we have snow in Montana. And by the way, there's people that I've seen complaining, hey, we haven't seen the kind of snow we're used to yet. You're getting it. All right. I know there's ski resorts out there that are suffering. It's coming. Here we are next weekend with our next major winter storm setting up in the northern plains first, dragging snow from Alberta and BC through Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, Colorado. Nebraska and South Dakota seem to be the heaviest of the recipients. Light snow beginning to fall in the northeast and eastern Pennsylvania and upstate New York through the rest of New England on Saturday, January 19th. That, believe it or not, folks, that Saturday storm in the northeast is scheduled to bring 3 to 6 inches of snow just from that little system. And then we have another low-pressure system moving in to some of the similar regions, a little bit further north this time on the snow-rain line. So where Cincinnati got 3 to 5 inches of snow, that might not be the case on the 19th next weekend, where now they are saying that this is going to be more of a rain event, but then it's going to change to snow later Saturday afternoon as we get set up for a big freeze here in the United States. A lot of cold air will be entering the lower 48 by Saturday, January 19th. And as we're looking at the map, we see snow in most of Ohio, northeast Ohio, western Pennsylvania, western New York, all over New York, actually. And by the morning of Sunday, January 20th, I'm expecting people, friends and family of mine in Dayton, Ohio, be on the lookout for another 5 to 8, possibly 10 to 12 inches of snow once again next weekend. It just depends on how quick that rain changes over to snow. If the temperatures are stubborn and that high pressure doesn't push down fast enough, there's a chance you might get less snow. But looking at this GFS, and for the GFS to be this clear, this far out, and this consistent, I have full confidence that we will see another significant snowstorm, except this time, this one looks like it might hug the coast a little bit more. And we are going to see rain in North Carolina, Virginia areas that saw the snow, D.C., Baltimore also starting off as snow as well. As we move through to Sunday afternoon, again, early indications, I think it is very possible for upstate New York and the rest of the Northeast to see snowfall totals from 12 to 21 inches for the weekend of the 18th, 19th, 20th. And finally, this storm makes an exit by late Sunday night, and Monday, maybe some light lake effect snow in western New York. But look, in the Northwest, once again, another system coming in with tons of snow and rain moving across almost the same exact areas. By the 22nd of January, there's going to be a swath of snow that's going to be falling from western New York all the way back to Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, New York. Snowfall coming once again Tuesday, January 22nd. Later in that day, we start to see this system really get its act together. And now it's time for the South to get some snow. Okay, so Southwest Ohio, you should see another 3 to 5, maybe even 8 inches of snow with this system. As this one forms across the Ohio Valley and into parts of also Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas is going to see freezing rain, and also some snow showers on the Panhandle. This is the 23rd of January. Snow across the south, more freezing rain. Heavy snow once again for southwestern Ohio. Guys, I might have underdid it on the Ohio snow totals. You could see a foot out of this. And as we get into the weekend, closer to the weekend, January 24th. Now, I talked about the 25th being a major snowstorm. Here it is, guys. We have snow from upstate New York all the way to almost the Texas-Mexico border. And then there's a fine line of freezing rain, guys. This is what the Farmer's Almanac was talking about, the South being the battle zone. Here it is. That purple, that freezing rain, that icy stuff, those people they don't have preparations for stuff like this continuously. But it does look like the temperatures on Thursday get cold enough to where the freezing rain line ends, stays around the Northeast, like around Jersey and Philly, and New York City could see that purple stuff. But again, this system starts up around the 22nd of January and continuous snow for several days. On the 25th, that storm is finally out of here. And again, I really think from the weekend snow and even this next snow system, which could bring an additional foot to upstate New York, already what they'll have on the ground from the storm on the weekend, coming up next weekend on the 18th and 19th, and then once again on the 22nd, same regions, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas. You guys will all have 2 more good chances of snow after next weekend as well. This storm makes its exit on the 25th. And then once again, more snow developing in the Great Lakes. Some light snow showers by that weekend on Saturday, right before what we call an Alberta Clipper comes racing through the Great Lakes once again by the 27th. And through the Northeast, once again, Ohio. This one's going to be a quick hitter. This one's going to be a quick 3 to 5. Nothing major on this for the most part. If you live in Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, you're talking about 3 to 5 inches. No big deal. Same thing with upstate New York and all of New York, actually, and the Northeast. Probably another 3 to 5 inches. Nothing major to worry about. But that is all the way through January 28th. And guess what? There's more behind it. There is no break in sight from the 18th of January all the way through the 29th. So the stratospheric sudden warming situation, we were told it takes 2 to 3 weeks to feel the effects. It's been almost 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. By the time we get to the 18th, it'll be 3 full weeks. There's your effect right there. There's that severe winter weather for the United States, the East, the Midwest, the Northern Plains, and parts of the South. Just like that was predicted back in August by several people from this community. So, again, everyone was asking where winter was. You got it. Look at our temperatures real quick, and we're cold. Most of the East and the Northeast, very cold. By the 11th, I need to reset this, actually. No, I'm correct. Let's try it again, folks. Bear with me here. I apologize. So we'll start.
Oh, I got picture now.
You got picture?
Yeah.
Liar.
No, I don't.
Old Henrik, old Uncle Henrik.
What?
Sounded like a sick Chewbacca.
It was.
It was. As we're doing this,
more like you in the morning.
It is like me in the morning. Very cold air is making its way into the Northeast and the Northern Plains. We see a slight mild trend here on the 16th, and that is it, guys. Bye-bye to that after the 16th. More Arctic air. You guys see the dark pink, the bright pink, cold air trying its best to make its way into the lower 48. And look at the temperatures in the Dakotas, the negative 20s, negative 15s. That cold air is going to sink and sink and sink. And as we get into the 19th, we're freezing below Tennessee. Now we're into the south. By the 20th, we start to see some of that brighter pink, colder air moving into Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, parts of northwest Ohio, and all of the Northeast will see below 0 for lows after the weekend of the 19th. And it looks like to me that cold air is just brewing up and is doing its damnedest to continue to punish the Great Lakes, the Northern Plains, and the Northeast and parts of Ohio as well, all the way through the 24th, the 25th. I mean, guys, this is cold weather. Even parts of Florida are going to be in the 20s once again by the end of the month. That Arctic air is trying to make sure it invades all of the United States. And even as we show you as far as January 29th, that bright pink Arctic cold air is exactly where people have been predicting all year long when we started talking about this polar vortex. This is the area that we expected the cold air. Those people were right, and we were right for coming on the air every night and talking about it. So I am getting reports that we're expecting severe winter weather conditions over the next 45 to 60 days. Not saying every single day is going to be a major problem here in the U.S., but I believe it. Just by looking at the reports that we have here for the United States and especially Europe. I mean, guys, again, everyone over there in Austria and in areas that's been affected by this heavy snow, our thoughts and prayers are with you, because that's a scary situation when you start piling up snow and you don't know where to put it after so long too. So that's looking at the weather. I'll show us our snowfall through January 23rd, and we get quite a bit, and we will add to that snow total cover. I mean, this map is indicating that most of Texas, about 85% of Texas, will have snow on the ground by January 23rd. Parts of the Northeast will have over 20 inches of snow on the ground. Now listen, I just said that on the weekend we were looking at a chance of 12 to 21 inches of snow starting on January 18th through the weekend and possibly into Tuesday, January 22nd. So GFS also feels confident in that. Of course, the further northeast you go, we're looking at almost 30 inches of snowfall in Maine. So parts of upstate New York, it's definitely, from what I'm looking at, we are looking at least 1.5 foot of snowfall to come from the 18th until the 23rd. And I always highlight the Northeast because that's where I live. And I'm sure many of you live out this way as well. But look at Ohio, almost 1 foot of snow on the ground by the time we get to January 23rd. Now, the majority of that's already fallen, but this is additional snow from what they already have had. This goes back to the 15th, which hasn't even started yet. So whatever snowfall that you have on the ground right now, guys, okay, you people out there in Ohio, yeah, add about another 1 foot by next Wednesday. Not this coming Wednesday, but the fall. That's 10 days out. I get it. I know it's far away. Things can change. But this was what we were told to expect once we got to this point into January. And it's happening full-fledged. And it's only the beginning. That's the sad part. This is just the beginning. And I think with cooler Pacific waters, I think we'll see a longer winter into April, maybe early May. And I don't think we're going to have a very warm summer in parts like the East, the Northeast, and the Northern Plains. There might be parts of the South that don't see as hot of a temperature. I mean, look at the El Nino region 3-4. And that yellow is vanishing all the way across. All right, now we're getting to the point where the highest reading in that 3-4 region is 27 degrees Celsius. Does anybody know the temperature that El Nino has to be at for an El Nino to even significantly develop? Does anyone know? 28 degrees Celsius. Okay? So how can NOAA even stand? And I did see something. NOAA did update their prediction for a January, February El Nino. They actually dropped it to 65% now. So I think they're starting to see the big picture too. These water temperatures are not warm. Yeah, they're warm, but they're not the temperature they need to be for this El Nino event to kick off. I believe we will see neutral conditions. I believe that if we do go into a La Nina, that it's going to be it's going to be a moderate to strong, and I mean strong La Nina if this continues. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. I don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not sitting here trying to act like I'm some expert, but just from my observations and the people I surround myself around, cool spring, cool summer, and if you thought it was cold and snowy this year, I'm afraid that even next year, like we've said in the past, is going to continue to get worse, and it's already shown that. Going over the ice once again, the ice growth so far for 2019 is just, better than any of us expected. And I bet the guy that was trolling me about showing the sea ice extent, I bet he's regretting me looking at this, because ever since he has kind of razzed me about this chart is proving that we are growing in sea ice extent. This chart proves it. So thank you, Mr. whoever you were that was bothering me about not showing people the growth, because he wanted to hang his hat on how weak and pathetic 2018 started off at. 2018 started off at 12.534 million square kilometers, all right? And then you go to 2018, I mean, it wasn't that much between 18, but look, 2019, we were higher. Not by much, but we were higher by 12.57 million square kilometers. Not by much, but we are higher. But look at the growth. Look at the separation we have here, too. I like to point these out. I like these little guides here. It gives us an idea. I look at how much growth we've had from 2018 to where we are right now. So, yeah. Thanks, buddy. Henrik, I'm to the point where I'm at the end of our program. Was there anything that you'd like to mention or add before we go tonight? And then I'm just going to bring Mari back on as well and have her say hello to everybody.
Well, I was wondering the other day if anybody have any news about John Casey.
No.
Mari, have you contacted? I know you've reached out.
I did reach out to him, and I have not heard back yet. I'll have to check again. I don't know.
Guys, believe it or not, the last time we actually had any kind of message back from him was last Christmas. And at that point, he had told us that his recovery was still on track, but he felt like he still had another year or two before he got back to normal. And here's the train footage you were talking about, Henrik. I'm showing that right now. That is cool, actually.
The last time he messaged me back was last year, and he just put, "You are so kind to think of me. Progress continues with therapy. Kind of 2 step forwards, 1 step back. My overall feeling is strongly positive with the realization that he's still alive, where his mother and his brother died from their strokes. Every day is a blessing, and he is enjoying his second chance at life." And last year, he basically said he was retiring from the research, and I know we all hope he does eventually get back to it, but most certainly right now, it takes years to recover from something like that. I am thankful he is alive, and all I can do is pray to have him speedily recover and, have him get his life back to normal.
Yeah, I also hope that he will recover soon, and I hope he feels a lot better.
And again, same with me. Best wishes to you, John, if you're happy to be listening to us. I can understand why he wants to retire. He's put a lot of years into this. His health is his main focus now, and he wants to enjoy what rest of his life he does have. Because let's face it, folks, even people who just research this topic are stressed out on a daily basis. From the articles, from the amount of evidence that we see every day that we're being lied to about global warming, we're being lied to about CO2, we're being lied to about this being a warm planet, and continues to show the trend of a warming trend. So, Mari lives with me, so she knows I almost have a coronary almost on a daily basis when I see these ridiculous claims and papers that don't even bring evidence to the table. So,
well, I know he watches several of the GSM channels, and he's just in the background. I know any well wishes in the comments he does see.
He sees them,
and I do forward messages to him, and he does see them. So. I definitely hope to hear back from him soon, and as soon as we do hear from him, I will definitely let everyone know how he's doing.
Oh, that's great.
I guess I could lead into how the chat's doing. How's everyone doing in the chat? Wow. What a turnout today, this Sunday. We got a good time slot here. Starman really wants us to try to do earlier shows. He almost,
What a sissy.
I was like, I don't know. It's based on our work schedules because we have real jobs and stuff. Unfortunately, we can only do this in our spare time. because we just are fueled by the passion for the topic. I'd like to thank Rain Silver Splash. He is a mod in our Facebook group, and he did a super chat, so thank you. You didn't have to do that, but we really do appreciate your support. Lots of new faces in the chat. A lot of people who just come back time and time again. We got people like Ian, and I hear my voice again, Jake.
Sorry about that.
We got Starman, Ian. There's a bunch of people in the chat. If you want to say hi to them, Jake.
Yeah, I just jumped in myself to say hello to everybody. Glenn Sinclair, how you doing? Joe Wilson, I've seen you a few times. Good to see you again tonight. Deborah Edwards. Ian, my favorite Viking, is in the house. Of course, Starman, what's going on, bud? How you doing tonight? Rain Silver Splash. It's nice to see you as always. And Daniel Sneeden, thank you for tuning in tonight. He says 5 inches of snow in south central Ohio, which he's probably talking closer to the Lancaster area if he's saying south central Ohio. But it's nice to see everybody out here. E.T.
And it's been, I gotta say, Jake, it's been interesting in the chat, especially in the beginning. Some of your favorite trolls made a presence, and I assured people in the chat they're just there to defame us, slander us, and, try to make us look illegitimate, which is, luckily, what are you doing that for?
I'm saying cut it out, because I don't even want to give any kind of recognition to these people. Honestly,
I am proud of all the people watching and participating in the chat. They didn't buy into the BS. The best thing to do is just ignore them buggers.
I think the numbers speak for themselves here tonight when you look at how many people are watching tonight. Obviously, it made a few people jealous. So, Henrik, thank you for joining us tonight. As always, this was a great Sunday show. We'll have to do it again next Sunday. Hopefully our schedules will continue to line up for us, but this was the first of many 2019 shows with you, Henrik, and I want to thank you for joining us again.
Well, thank you yourself, and yes, I'm ready next Sunday, no problem.
All right.
And Happy New Year.
I think he was talking to you, Mari.
Oh, Happy New Year. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, I don't have new hair, but thank you anyway.
All right, that's going to do it for us tonight, guys. Please like and share, and remember, we will talk soon. Take care, guys.